Hi, I'm Joanne Kelly, one of the co-founders of the Interfaith Network on Mental Illness. In this video, we'll discuss the warning signs and risk factors for suicide that you, as a member of the clergy, may notice in congregants who come to you for counseling. Suicide touches everyone, all ages and incomes, all racial, ethnic, and religious groups, people in all parts of the country. Suicide takes the lives of about 38,000 Americans each year. Each year, more than 8 million adults think seriously about taking their lives, and more than 1 million adults make a suicide attempt. People with mental health problems, including those who are suicidal, frequently turn to faith community leaders for help. So with a little education, you are in a unique position to help your congregants get the help they need when they are feeling suicidal. This video covers suicide warning signs and risk factors so you know what to look for when your congregants come to you. First, let's talk about some of the distressing life experiences that may predispose someone to feeling suicidal. Distressing life experiences include things like loss of job, home or money, death or terminal illness of a loved one. They may also include divorce, separation, or other broken relationships, for example, family rejection of those with non-conforming gender identities and sexual orientation. Job or school problems, for example, conflict at work or being bullied at school. Financial problems or stress. Health problems, for example, chronic pain, disability, loss of eyesight. Legal issues or going to jail. Surviving a traumatic experience, like a natural disaster, car accident, or personal trauma like sexual assault or robbery. This list is not exhaustive, but it gives you an idea of the types of things that predispose people to suicide. Just because someone is experiencing one of these distressing events does not mean they are suicidal. In a minute, we'll list some warning signs of suicidal thinking. If you noticed one or more of these signs in conjunction with a distressing life experience, mental illness, or past suicide attempt, you should ask the individual if he or she is thinking about suicide. We'll discuss ways to ask the question in the next video in this series, how to tell if a person is considering suicide. Next, let's go over a few warning signs. Suicidal individuals rarely admit spontaneously that they are thinking of harming themselves, but most suicidal individuals will give some warning of their intentions. It's important to take the signs you notice seriously, but remember that no single warning sign means a person will take his or her life. You might notice verbal, written, or pictorial clues, for example in children's artwork. These clues may include references to death, dying, endings, or finality, assuming they're not terminally ill. Preoccupation with death or dying. Expressing a feeling of being a burden. They may perceive they are a burden, that their death would be a relief for those who love them. Emotional extremes or shifts can also be a warning sign. You may notice a dramatic change in mood, a sense of hopelessness, helplessness, worthlessness, or shame. You may notice unrelenting sadness, anxiety, or feeling agitated, or they may show uncharacteristic anger or rage or revenge seeking. You may notice fearlessness, which may be a sign that they have overcome their sense of self-preservation. In addition to emotional shifts, you may also notice behavioral changes, including a decline in performance at work, school, or other activities. Reckless or risky behavior like speeding or substance abuse, such as overindulging in alcohol or drugs. Withdrawal from family and friends, or perhaps from their faith community. This is also called thwarted belongingness, which is about losing connection with others. You may notice them giving important possessions away. You may notice changes in religious behavior. For example, previously ambivalent congregants suddenly attending church frequently with lots of questions about the afterlife, or formerly involved congregants who are now avoiding religious activities. Physical changes may be another warning sign. These may include changes in sleep patterns, for example, loss of sleep or excessive sleep. Changes in eating, for example, loss of appetite or overeating. What you might see is weight loss or weight gain. Or poor hygiene. For example, you may notice a disheveled appearance in a formerly tidy person. Suicidal individuals may also go through a spiritual crisis. Things you might hear from someone who has come to you for help may include a spiritual struggle to connect with God or feeling abandoned by God, shame that they are letting God down, loss of purpose, or feeling rejected by the religious community. Other risk factors to keep in mind is a previous suicide attempt, a recent discharge from the emergency room or hospital following a suicidal episode or depression, mental illness, including depression, PTSD, bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia, substance abuse, and social isolation. If one of your congregants is undergoing a distressing life experience combined with one of these other signs and risk factors, don't dismiss it. Ask the individual if he or she is thinking about suicide. We'll discuss ways to ask the question in the next video in the series, How to Tell if a Person is Considering Suicide. If you see signs of immediate risk, ask if they are thinking about suicide. Here are some signs that immediate action is required. Threatening to hurt or kill oneself. Talking about feeling like they just can't take it anymore. Talking about feeling hopeless or having no reason to live. Having a plan and lethal means, for example, gun, pills, or other means. We've covered a lot of warning signs and risk factors in this video. If you'd like to have a written copy of these lists, go to the INME website at www.inme.us, and that INME is INMI. There you can download the Suicide Risk Factors and Warning Signs flyer. Be sure to watch the other videos in the Caring Clergy Project Suicide Intervention and Response series and the Making Referrals series. Remember, you can be a key person in helping your congregants find hope and reassurance and help connect them to life-saving resources. Thank you for being a caring clergy.